The sun has set, the air is cold. Something moves beyond the clearing. A faint whisper, a heavy footstep. Something's getting close. But have no fear, you should be safe. The campfire is going strong. Gather round, but be warned, they come before dawn.
Good evening, dear listeners, and welcome to They Come Before Dawn. I am your host, Lawrence.
And I am your co-host, Ray.
And in this night's episode, we'll be talking about the Dybbuk.
And the Dybbuk box.
I'm not even sure if we're saying it correctly, to be honest.
Yeah, we are.
In most of the things I saw, they said Dybbuk, but it's a Jewish name, it's Hebrew, so
oh yeah, of course.
Both of us don't speak Hebrew, so I'm not sure if...
Okay, yeah, it could be. But everyone says Dybbuk. I heard the pronunciation Dybbuk, but I think it's just like an English pronunciation. It's probably not right.
Yeah, probably not right.
So, Dybbuk.
Alright, normally we start by asking ourselves how we've been, how's our week's been, stuff like that. Not this night. Not today. In this night, we'll just jump right in. Because there's a tale I want to tell you about.
Yes, you told me.
It was something, whilst we were doing the research of the Dybbuk, something that I immediately thought of. But afterwards, I don't think it would be, I wouldn't say appropriate, but would be correct to place the Dybbuk and this thing that I want to talk about.
Like it doesn't really fit together.
It doesn't really fit together, but still it's so interesting. And it really goes hand in hand with what you told me before we started the episode. So I think you'll see how related these things are.
Okay, I'm curious.
Okay, so the thing I want to talk to you about is the unlucky mummy.
The unlucky mummy.
You told me you don't know what the unlucky mummy is.
No,
well,
I don't.
What do you think it would be about?
Something, I guess, Egyptian mythology.
It's Egyptian.
Yeah, because mummies are Egyptian.
It's an Egyptian
and
mummy.
I don't know how a mummy could be lucky though, because they're dead.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how this mummy is even unluckier than, or maybe mummies are considered lucky as in because they're bombed and blah blah and they go to the afterlife. So maybe this one, well, I don't know.
I always find your way of thinking so fascinating. You have such a special way of thinking about things. Yes, yes you do.
I don't clue.
Okay, so what's a mummy in? What does it rest in?
A sarcophage.
A sarcophagus.
I don't know the English name.
Yeah,
Okay.
A sarcophagus. That's correct. We say sarcophage, but it's a sarcophagus. So, what's a sarcophagus? It's just like a sort of box, right?
Yeah, just like an extremely pretty and expensive box.
But it's in the end, it's just a box. So, when we decided to do the episode about Dybbuks and Dybbuk boxes, I thought, hey, a box, sarcophagus is also sort of like a box. Yeah. It isn't about a spirit or it isn't about a demonic creature or anything along those lines. It's about a mummy, which is also a thing that comes back with a zombie, a mummy, a demon, things like that. So, I have a bit of a weird thought process, and that was the first thing that jumped into my mind when we decided to do it about Dybbuks.
Oh, you thought it was going to be...
No, I didn't think you were going to do anything about this mummy, but I knew about the unlucky mummy. I don't know why, but that's probably my ADD, which makes me jump into these weird parallels and weird conclusions. But that's one of the first things that's jumped into my mind. So, the unlucky mummy. First of all, that's incorrect. It's not about a mummy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's
not about a mummy. It's not even about a sarcophagus.
Oh.
It's about the wooden mummy board or the inner coffin lid that's painted. So you know a sarcophagus. So you have the mummy. Yeah. The mummy sits in a coffin. Mm-hmm. Then you have a sarcophagus, and then you even have a stone sarcophagus. So there's different layers to a sarcophagus.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know it was a coffin in a sarcophagus.
It's not like we bury our dead. It's not like a coffin with a body in it dumped into the ground.
No, it's not.
There's multiple layers.
Yeah, I didn't know there was the layer between the mummy and the sarcophagus though. I didn't know that.
Sometimes not always. It's by ranking and how much money you had in life. Like a pharaoh is obviously has a lot more layers to it because they're so influential and so much more higher in rank, so much closer to deities.
Rich.
Yeah, and rich, obviously. So the unlucky mummy itself, it talks about a wooden mummy board, or what we would call the inner coffin lid. So it's just the.
So it's not about.
It's just the
body itself.
Yeah, just a painted wooden panel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the lid is of a female, which you can see by features that are on the lid itself. Also, the lid has crossed hands, which I've heard references a female.
But wasn't the sarcophagus from, was it the pharaoh Tutankhamun? Isn't it also with
but
hands?
he's crossed hand and he has a scepter and an ankh in his hand. That's specific to him, to a pharaoh, I believe. What I mean is more of an outstretched hands.
Oh,
and it's different.
Okay,
it's different.
I get it.
The quality of the lid, because it's so beautifully decorated, means that it's a person of high rank. Mm-hmm. There is no name on this lid. There are hieroglyphics on them, but they are all religious phrases. Why this unlucky mummy is so unlucky, that's the reason I immediately thought of it when looking into Dybbuk. So, I'll tell you a story, and I'll do this verbatim. Of all tales of the supernatural, this one is perhaps the best documented, the most disturbing, and the most difficult to explain. The princess of Amun-Ra lived some 1,500 years before Christ. When she died, she was laid in an ornate wooden coffin and buried deep in a vault at Luxor, on the banks of the Nile. In the late 1890s, four rich young Englishmen visiting the excavations at Luxor were invited to buy an exquisitely fashioned mummy case containing the remains of the princess of Amun-Ra. They drew lots. The man who won paid several £1,000s and had the coffin taken to his hotel.
To his hotel. Okay.
A few hours later, he was seen walking out towards the desert. He never returned.
Oh, okay.
The next day, one of the remaining 3 men was shot by an Egyptian servant, accidentally. His arm was so severely wounded that he had to be amputated. The 3rd man in the threesome found on his return home that the bank holding his entire savings had failed. The 4th guy suffered a severe illness, lost his job, and was reduced to selling matches in the street.
Oh no.
So he became sort of like a beggar.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the coffin reached England, causing other misfortunes along the way, where it was bought by a London businessman. After 3 of his family members had been injured in a road accident and his house was damaged by a fire, the businessman donated it to the British Museum.
Damn. He was just like, I don't need more money anymore for it. Just take it.
I don't want to deal with it.
Huh.
As the coffin was being unloaded from a truck in the museum courtyard, the truck suddenly went into reverse and trapped a passerby. Then, as the casket was being lifted up the stairs by 2 workmen, one fell and broke his leg. The other, apparently in perfect health, died unaccountably 2 days later.
So, what? Okay.
Once the princess was installed in the Egyptian room, so
in the museum.
It's a room in the British Museum.
Yeah.
There's multiple rooms called Egyptian room. There's a second Egyptian room, third Egyptian room.
Yeah.
So once the princess was installed in the Egyptian room, trouble really started.
Oh no.
The museum's night watchman frequently heard frantic hammering and sobbing from the coffin.
Oh boy.
Other exhibits in the room were also often hurled about at night. One watchman died on duty, making the other watchman wanting to quit his job.
Yeah, understandably.
Cleaners refused to go near the princess, and when a visitor derisively flicked a dust cloth at the face painted on the coffin, his child died of measles soon afterwards.
No. Wait, what year are we speaking of
It
now?
means the 4 men bought the coffin in the late 1890s, so it's probably in the 1900s.
Oh, okay. It's actually not that long ago.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, like 100 years ago.
About 100 years ago.
Yeah.
A bit more. Finally, the authorities had the mummy carried down to the basement, figuring it could not do any harm down there.
Of course, yeah, it's a supernatural thing. If you put it in a basement, sure. Yeah, logic, of course.
Within a week, one of the helpers was seriously ill and the supervisor of the move was found dead on his desk.
Why didn't they just ship it back to Egypt, where it probably belonged?
By now, the papers had heard of it, so a journalist photographer took a picture of the mummy case, and when he developed it, the painting on the coffin was of a horrifying human face.
Ooh.
The photographer was said to have gone home then, locked his bedroom and shot himself.
What?
Soon afterwards, the museum sold the mummy to a private collector. After continual misfortunes and deaths, the owner banished it to his attic.
To his what?
To his attic.
Attic. Oh.
Attic. Attic. Addict?
No, attic.
Attic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without it.
English not good. A well-known authority on the occult, Madame Helena Blavatsky, visited the premises.
Mm-hmm.
Upon entry, she was seized by a shivering fit and searched the house for the source of an evil influence of an incredible intensity. She finally came to the attic and found the mummy case. "Can you exorcise this evil spirit?" asked the owner. "There is no such thing as exorcism. Evil remains evil forever. Nothing can be done about it. I implore you to get rid of this evil as soon as possible." But no British museum would take the mummy. The fact that almost 20 people had met with misfortune, disaster or death from handling the casket in barely 10 years was now well known.
Damn.
Eventually, a hard-headed American archaeologist who dismissed the happenings as quirks of circumstance paid a handsome price for the mummy and arranged for its removal to New York. In April 1912, the new owner escorted its treasure aboard the sparkling new White Star liner about to make its maiden voyage to New York. On the night of April 14, amid scenes of unprecedented horror, the Princess of Amun-Ra accompanied 1,500 passengers to their death at the bottom of the Atlantic. The name of the ship was, of course, the HMS Titanic.
No. Oh my god, the moment you said 1912 and then you said ship, I was like, no, it's not, no.
Yeah.
Is this a true story?
This story supposedly was written to explain how the Titanic sank. They think that this mummy could have caused this.
The story, like, it's real.
This story is 100% false.
Okay, it's not real.
It's not real.
Okay.
There is no mummy of Amun-Ra. No princess of Amun-Ra.
Okay.
As I said before, the unlucky mummy that we know is just a coffin lid.
Yeah.
There's no mummy. There's no physical mummy.
Yeah.
So, the story is false. This never happened. There never was a mummy aboard the Titanic.
Okay.
It isn't on any cargo manifest or any cargo diagrams. Told you last episode that cargo is very important in a ship. The way it's all noted. Yeah. It's very difficult. It needs a smart man to calculate it with weight and ballast amongst those things. So it's not that easy to load a ship.
Okay.
So there should be mention of a mummy or human remains on the Titanic cargo lists and manifest. There isn't.
Okay, so
the mummy was supposedly acquired in the late 1890s, but the medium I spoke of, Helena Blavatsky, she died in 1891.
Okay,
so she couldn't have known about the mummy in the attic.
So then who
would have died already.
Who said this? Like, who came up with the story and why?
The mummy, or rather the coffin lid, it never left the British Museum, and it's still there today. So if both of us would go to London to the British Museum, then I have the exact number and the exact place where we can see the unlucky mummy.
I think I've been to the British Museum.
I believe it's the Natural British Museum of Natural History or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so, yeah,
There's just a British museum. Yeah,
I probably saw.
Yeah, I've been there as well, and
it's been a long time.
but it's a huge museum.
Yeah.
You could have missed it if you're not that interested in Egyptian artifacts.
That was like 10 years ago. I really don't remember.
There's a lot of sarcophagus there and a lot of mummies, and there's just one among many.
Damn.
So this ghost story, because it is a ghost story, was fabricated by two Englishmen named William Stead and Douglas Murray. So it was fabricated.
Okay. But still, that's a really cool story.
It's a really cool story.
The plot twist, like it was on the Titanic. No!
It was among Titanic.
Oh my god.
And I don't know.
For a second, I was like, no. Wait,
so
actually, no.
if you would look this up, Titanic, mummy, you'll find this story, and I think it's such a cool story.
It is a cool story.
I was so nervous for this plot twist. I felt so hot. I didn't want to misspeak.
Yeah.
Because if I misspoke, I wanted to say the sentence again, and then I would have spoiled the whole surprise.
Yeah.
I was very excited for the whole surprise.
Oh my god.
But it might not have anything to do with the Dybbuk, but I found it very, very interesting.
It is a cool story. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it's no problem.
And to be honest, like, even though it has nothing to do with Dybbuks or Dybbuk boxes, there are some similarities to the story I'm going to tell about the Dybbuk box.
Yeah.
I don't know if you...
When we spoke before the episode, some things lit up.
Yeah, so... Yeah, when you told the story, I was like, that's very interesting.
We'll see once you do your thing.
Yeah.
That the listeners will probably understand what we mean now.
Yeah. Alright, so...
Yeah.
Cool story.
Let's talk about the Dybbuk now.
You're going to talk about the Dybbuk, and then later in the episode I'll be talking specifically about the Dybbuk box.
Yeah.
So stay tuned if you would like to know about that. But first,
I think everyone wants to know about the whole thing. If you didn't want to know about what we're talking about, you wouldn't have downloaded and listened to the episode.
Maybe I should just give say what a Dybbuk box is, just in one sentence.
Yeah, sure. What's a Dybbuk box?
Basically, a Dybbuk box is a box containing a exorcised spirit.
A Dybbuk. So
which is a Dybbuk.
What is
a Dybbuk?
So obviously, just to even shorten it further, a Dybbuk box is a box with a Dybbuk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was very helpful. I think everyone. Okay, it was very helpful. Okay, so what is a Dybbuk? The Dybbuk itself is a malicious possessing spirit from Jewish mythology. It supposedly is the soul of a dead person. Early accounts of possession were of demonic possession, but it's not demonic possession, it's actually possession by a ghost. Mm-hmm. I mean, a spirit, a ghost, it's along those lines.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me about Christianity. In Christianity, you have possessions by the devil, by demonic entities. Mm-hmm. It's really similar to that. Yeah. It's sort of like the Judaic version of demonic possession, but it's not possession by a demon, it's possession by a spirit.
Yeah.
So I read about a rabbi who supposedly advised an individual said to be possessed to consult a psychiatrist. And I know that priests who talk to possessed Christians often help these people find professional help. So that specific rabbi does the same things that a priest often does.
Yeah.
Also, exorcisms in Christianity, they're not always demonic in nature. Sometimes it's just someone who doesn't feel mentally good, mentally well, and then talks to a priest, and together they pray and they sing, and that could be seen as a exorcism as well.
Yeah, but actually it's more of a finding inner peace.
Yeah. People who aren't mentally stable, who try to find stability. Yeah. Exactly. But exorcisms, honestly, is a very interesting subject.
Yeah.
And it's one that we'll do in one of our upcoming episodes.
Or 2. Or 3.
Or a couple episodes. It's a very interesting episode. So, not to be spoiling anything, maybe just never mind. So anyway, one of our next episodes is gonna be about exorcisms because we find it so interesting.
Exactly. And it is gonna be interesting. So.
Yeah. So, Dybbuks tended to be male spirits who possessed women on the eve of their weddings in a sexual fashion by entering the women through their vaginas.
Oh boy, I'm not surprised because I just glanced to the screen and I just saw that one sentence and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So, this is seen in S. Anki's play titled The Dybbuk. S. Anki is a Yiddish or Jewish playwright.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
This play popularized the concept of Dybbuk, even though Dybbuks are also found in Torah. The Torah is the religious text of Judaism.
Is
like the Bible.
The Bible, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
or like the Quran.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are other forms of possession in Jewish mythology. So there is the Iber, for example, is a positive possession.
The Iber?
The Iber. Yeah.
Oh, sounds familiar. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a righteous soul, then supposedly possesses a body temporarily. It's yeah. This is done with consent, so that the soul can perform a mitzvah, and a mitzvah is a religious duty. I mean, this is all the Jewish religion, and I'm not familiar with Judaism, but I know a mitzvah is a religious duty, and a person is commanded by God to perform this religious duty.
Huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Judaism has 613 such commandments.
Mm-hmm.
So these duties. There are positive commandments, and they number 365. Coincidentally, the number of days in a solar year.
Mm-hmm.
There's also negative commandments, and they number 248, which is the number of bones and main organs in the human body.
Really?
Yeah.
248.
Put these together, you have 613 commandments.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah. And God can command a person or a soul to do one of these duties, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that's a soul, then it's an Iber, and an Iber can possess someone with consent to do these duties, and once that duty is handled, the Iber is, I guess, released of its hold, releases its hold, and then
wow.
It's mythology, it's religion, it's very interesting, and it's a bit weird for us as Christians.
I'm not a Christian.
Yeah, but we're raised Christian, that's what I mean. The way we see religion is always through a Christian way, and I mean, I'm not a Christian as well, but it is different than what we have been taught as kids or as adults. So yeah, you have a Dybbuk, and a Dybbuk is a negative entity. It's a negative entity. It's soul of a dead person who possesses you without your consent. And then you have an Iber, which is a positive entity who does it with consent.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like yin and yang, the bad and the good.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. And a Dybbuk can always be exorcised through an exorcism.
Yeah.
As can a demon be exorcised from a Christian by an exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very similar. Yeah.
Well, I guess every religion has a form of that spirit that can possess and a form of exorcism.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm not sure if every religion has one of these, but
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I actually think every religion has some form of that.
I think you would be very safe if you would bet on it. If you would make a bet on it, it's probably very safe for you to bet that.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, it comes back in the origins, like before Christ and everything, when people still believed in multiple gods, and I'm thinking like Native Americans, all the original stuff.
The original.
That's
religions.
That's what I call the original religions. Like
paganism. every religion has its spirits and its entities, and it's probably a safe bet to think that every religion has a possessing evil entity and perhaps a possessing positive entity.
Yeah, I guess so.
But what about the box then? That's the thing that I don't really get.
All right, on to the Dybbuk box.
To the box part.
So I'm going to start with the story of how the Dybbuk box gained its popularity, I guess. Well, popularity is maybe a bit weird to phrase it, but
much,
how we
know of a Dybbuk box.
Yeah.
Because you're talking, the Dybbuk box specifically is one box.
Yeah, exactly. So, in 2003, a man named Kevin Manis listed something on eBay called a Dybbuk box. He added pictures of an old wine cabinet and a rather strange but long product description. It was a story about a Holocaust survivor and paranormal phenomena. At the end of the description, it apparently said, "Help me." And here is how the story goes.
We will put pictures of this specific box on Instagram.
On our Instagram
as well.
and on our website.
I'll put a picture of a Dybbuk and perhaps even of the unlucky mummy.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
We spoke about it, so...
Exactly. So, Kevin Manis lived in Portland, Oregon, America.
USA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, not America. United States of America. Yeah. America's not a country.
You have to be very specific.
It's true, but
United States of America.
It's right. It's correct. So one day he was visiting a yard sale to look for some old stuff and furniture for his own furniture refinishing business. So he had like an own store where he also refinished old stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool, to be honest. So suddenly he came across a old wooden wine cabinet. The person selling it was the granddaughter of a woman who had recently passed away at the age of 103, by the way. That's not relevant, but it's pretty cool. That's old. It's really old.
Yeah.
So that's...
I think it's 103 for a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
It is... I don't know. These people who had to survive such a tragedy always live to that age.
Yeah, I've
it's
noticed that
unbelievable
too.
how hard these people are and how sturdy.
Exactly.
And they always live to be 90, 100, even older.
They've been through so much, I think.
Death has no grip on them.
I guess. Her grandmother was a Holocaust survivor who grew up in Poland. She got married and raised a family until World War II happened, and the Nazis took over and sent her and her family to a concentration camp.
Poland had it very rough.
Yeah.
It was the first country that was invaded, one of the first that was invaded by the Nazis, and which meant that the Nazis had quite some time to damage the country.
Exactly. Sadly, she was the only person in her family to survive. After her family was killed, she escaped the camp and fled with other survivors to Spain and lived there until the war ended. After that, she immigrated to the US and brought only 3 items with her. The wine cabinet was one of those items. She got the cabinet in Spain, by the way. She didn't bring it from Poland. She got it in Spain and then brought it to the US.
So it's actually a Spanish cabinet, Spanish wine cabinet.
I guess, yeah.
Probably.
Manis bought the box along with some other items the granddaughter was selling. And she told Manis it was a Dybbuk box. So Manis was like, what is a Dybbuk box?
Yeah.
And her grandmother told her that to always keep it shut and out of reach because a Dybbuk was inside. So now we already know what a Dybbuk is.
Yeah. One of these evil spirits.
Exactly. So one of those spirits was trapped in the box. So it was never to be opened and you had to keep it out of reach. Yeah. So before actually selling the box to Manis, the granddaughter warned him, like, really, really never open it because bad things will happen. So apparently the grandmother had actually requested that the box would be buried with her, but apparently that is contrary to the rules of an Orthodox Jewish burial, so her request was not honored. I don't know much about Jewish burials, but I thought it was interesting to include.
There's different Jewish sects and different parts of religion as in Christianity. Yeah. Like we have Jehovah's Witnesses, Protestant, Catholic. Well, I believe that Orthodox Jewish people can't be buried with anything.
Oh, okay.
I think earthly possession is a bit weird to say, but they don't take anything with them in the grave.
Yeah.
I believe. I'm not sure. Don't put me on a stake.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. So Manis was like, okay, like this box seems very sentimental to you, like it was your grandmother and blah blah blah. So, it's so sentimental, are you sure you want to sell it to me? And she was like, yeah, you just bought it, you paid for it, I'm not taking it back, you're taking it with you. And Manus said in his story that she actually got really angry and upset.
Yeah.
Because she was like, no, you bought it,
No,
you've got to
yours.
take the box
Yeah.
now. Like, you take it with you.
It sounds like the beginning of a bad horror movie. Right
Yeah. Interesting. No, wait,
No.
I'm not going to tell
Yeah.
that in the
Yeah.
end. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
So she would not take the box back.
Yeah.
So Kevin Manus took the items he purchased back to his shop to restore it.
Mm-hmm.
He planned on giving the wine cabinet to his mother for her birthday, which was on the 28th of October.
Mm-hmm.
To restore the cabinet, he had to open it, and so he did. Inside, he found some curious objects. There were two...
So he took it back and opened it immediately.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
There were two US wheat pennies inside, one dating from 1925 and one from 1928.
Yeah.
There were two locks of hair, a blonde lock and a brown/black lock of hair.
It's not really that weird, to be honest. It
No.
might sound weird, but I know I have a picture album that my mother made.
I also
and
have a lock of hair in a picture.
There's a lock of hair from her mother that she took when my grandmother died.
Yeah, but apparently that used to be a thing.
Yeah, that used to be a thing. So
indeed, it's not that
yeah, it's not that weird. So that uncommon is probably very common actually.
Especially if the pennies were from 1925 to 1928, then the hair locks were probably too. So that considering, it's actually not that weird. But okay. There was also a dried rosebud, a golden wine cup, a four-legged candlestick. I'm not too sure what I have to imagine.
I'm picturing it in my head, and
I think it's like a candlestick, like for one candle, but with four legs.
I think that's
it's something
that's
like that.
what it says, four-legged candlestick.
Yeah. So that's what I'm imagining.
That's also what I'm imagining.
So I guess it's just that.
Yeah.
And there was also a granite sculpture with the Hebrew word shalom inscribed.
You know what shalom means?
It's like, isn't that like something like amen or something?
No, I think shalom is Jewish people say that to each other when they greet. When they greet each other, they say shalom. But also when they leave, they also say shalom. I think it translates to peace be with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
You could even look at it as someone say aloha. You know aloha in Hawaii. It's something you say when it doesn't. You say that to greet someone and to say farewell to someone, but it doesn't mean hi or bye.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
so
I
shalom,
understand.
You can look at it as amen. I think they also say amen. Would also be shalom, but I think it really means peace be with you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I hope I'm not Jewish. I really hope so.
I
don't speak Hebrew. It's a thing off the top of my head. I think I remember.
Well, if it's wrong, we will correct it on
Twitter.
Twitter.
Correct it on Twitter.
Later, he also found that in the back of the cabinet, it had the Shema carved in, which is a prayer considered to be one of the most important in Judaism.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You did?
No,
Didn't. Okay.
Didn't.
Yeah, me neither. So I don't even know if Shema.
It's I think actually it will be Shema.
Shema,
but I'm not
probably.
sure. I don't speak Hebrew.
Me neither. So after opening the cabinet, he actually decided to not refinish it.
Yeah.
But just clean it and rub it in lemon oil.
Cool decision. It's a cool decision of him. Let's open this cabin, who we've been warned not to open.
Yeah.
And try to refurbish it and clean it up, and then open it and just not clean it up.
Yeah. Well, he did clean it,
But he cleaned it, but he did do it with the purpose that he started out with.
Exactly.
It's a dumb thing.
So Manus was not able to give it to his mother on her actual birthday, since she was already having plans that day with friends. So she came to his shop a few days later, on Halloween.
On Hallows Eve, huh?
Yes. Manus gave her the wine cabinet, and his mother seemed to really like it.
Yeah.
At that moment, Kevin's phone rang, and he went to the back of the store to take the call. What?
7 days.
I was like, why are you laughing? What did I say? Oh no, 7 days. Oh my god.
7 days.
I didn't even think of that. Oh my god. Imagine.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, only 5 minutes later, one of Kevin's employees came running to the back telling him something was wrong with his mother. So Manus ran to his mother, only to find her sitting in a chair, no expression on her face, tears running down her cheeks. She would not respond to any of his questions. So his mother actually suffered from a stroke.
Okay.
And was taken to the hospital.
Yeah.
On the table next to the chair she was sitting in was a wine cabinet, and it was opened.
So it probably wasn't 7 days, but 5 minutes.
Yeah, 7 minutes.
5 minutes.
In the hospital, Kevin's mother was doing a little bit better, but she was still unable to speak.
That's typical of a stroke.
She did regain that speech later on in life again, but at that point she could not speak yet. So she responded by pointing to letters to spell words, and she was able to tell Kevin that she hated the gift. Kevin kind of laughed it off and told her sorry he didn't like the gift, but he didn't link it to anything paranormal. Yet. He then gave the cabinet to his sister, but after only a week, she gave it back. His sister told him that the cabinet's doors wouldn't stay closed.
Yeah.
Kevin was like, that's weird, because when I worked on it, it just stayed closed.
Yeah, but I believe that the cabinet originally was sealed with wax.
As far I've not read that in this story. Other Dybbuk boxes are.
Ah, okay.
Like
I might have
it could have
mistaken some other things.
But I did not read it in this story.
Never mind. I'm sorry.
The cabinet, however, that did have a special kind of mechanism. So if you would open one door, it would automatically also open the other door and the drawer avenue.
Yeah.
So if the doors didn't stay closed, everything opened all at once.
Yeah.
So Kevin, he got it back and then decided to give it to his brother and his wife, and they only kept it for 3 days before returning it.
No one wants this damn box.
No, and they said the box smelled like cat urine, and they couldn't get the smell out.
Okay.
Kevin also found that strange because he was like, I didn't smell cat urine.
He cleaned it with lemon oil, and that's really nice smelling.
Exactly. So that was kind of weird. So Kevin was like, okay, well then I'm gonna give it to my girlfriend, and she also came back with it only after 2 days.
He's still giving it away.
And then Kevin was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sell it in my own store. Screw this shit. I'm gonna sell it. So he actually sold it to an elderly couple.
Yeah.
Who seemed very excited to buy it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then 3 days later, Kevin went to his store to open the shop, and at the front doors of his shop was the cabinet with a little note attached. And the note said, "This has a bad darkness." Kevin had no idea what all of this meant, and he was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna take it in my own house. Screw this shit.
Just throw it out. Just throw it out.
Yeah. No, he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it myself then. And this, of course, is where things got even worse.
Foreshadowing.
Once the box was in his own house, he actually started having a recurring nightmare. One recurring nightmare.
Okay.
In this nightmare, Kevin would be walking with a friend, and at some point, he would find himself looking in the eyes of that friend. But when he looked, he actually would realize that it was not his friend, but something demonic looking back at him.
Ooh.
Yeah. The demon then proceeds to beat him, and Kevin would actually wake up with bruises on his body. Bruises and marks on his body. Still, Kevin did not link it to anything paranormal. He was like, yeah, this is just one big
just
coincidence.
a regular night.
Until
Wake up battered and bruised.
Exactly. Until his sister, brother, and his brother's wife came over to his house and spent the night. The next morning, his sister complained about having a nightmare and described to Kevin the exact same nightmare that he's been having.
Yeah.
As they were listening, his brother and his wife froze and eventually told them they had been having the same nightmares. Coincidentally.
Yeah.
Kevin then called his girlfriend and asked if she had been having nightmares, to which she responded that she had, and described to him the exact same nightmare.
Dun, dun, dun.
After that, Kevin began seeing shadows in the corners of his eyes.
Yeah.
Shadow people. Eventually, he put the cabinet in an outside storage unit, just right outside of his house.
It's like a garage or something. Yeah. A storage unit.
So one night he woke up to the fire alarm going off in the storage unit.
Mm-hmm.
He got up to see what it was, but nothing was burning. There was, however, an intense smell of cat urine. When he got back into his house, the smell was there too. Kevin had never owned a cat.
Yeah.
He was
but you don't need to own a cat to find cat urine, to be honest.
Okay, no,
you can have
could
a cat
be
just wandering
stray
around.
cat, true, but there was no cat.
Yeah,
basically.
he didn't have a cat, so it's not logical for him to have cat urine.
Yeah.
Or at least the smell of it in his house.
Exactly, and not in such a short amount of time,
Yeah.
for your whole house to smell like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Instead of going back to sleep, he actually went on his computer and started researching about these kinds of things. He read that there are people who actually look for these type of haunted boxes and buy them on eBay and such. So Kevin decided to put the box up for sale on eBay, including this entire story and begging someone to help him. After he put the listing online, he proceeded to add some updates to the description before the bidding ended. So, you can bid until whatever, let's say the 15th of February.
Yeah,
and he just added some more updates up until that date.
Yeah.
One of the last updates was that he thought the box stopped haunting him until he got home one day, which, coincidentally, on a Friday the 13th.
Okay.
13th.
Super coincidental.
And he saw all of his 10 fish dead in their aquarium. So that is the story of the Dybbuk box. That is a story that was included in the listing of the Dybbuk
eBay.
box. So the box was actually sold for $280 on the 9th of February in 2004. You can actually find this entire story, including the original eBay listing, on Kevin Mannis' website, dybbukbox.com. Except that Dybbuk is written with an I and not with a Y.
Yeah.
All the original items were also included in the sale with the box.
Oh, you mean the things that were inside?
Yeah, the pennies, the hair lock.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
In 2011, Jason Hexton, who had briefly owned the cabinet, wrote a book about the Dybbuk box as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2012, a horror movie was made about the Dybbuk box, or the story was used as an inspiration. The movie is called The Possession, and both Kevin Mannis and Jason Hexton were production consultants on the film. And it also is said that apparently 5 days after the shooting of the film ended, all the movie props were destroyed in a mysterious fire.
That's a lot of misfortune in this story.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So unlucky.
Yeah. Why do you think I found it so interesting that there was so much misfortune in the story of the unlucky mummy? And there's so much misfortune in this story as well.
So, do you know Zach Bagans of Bagans? I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Yeah, you mean the host of the show Ghost Adventures?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I didn't know you would think that. It's so coincidental that you can read my notes.
No, but I also know who that guy is. And
really?
I know the next part you're gonna say is not a known part to me.
I'm gone.
Turn
my No! No, I did not want you to know.
I knew that already.
Oh, damn it. Okay, but
okay, no.
Anyway, so Zach Bagans bought the box from Hexton in 2016.
Yeah.
In the same year, both Kevin Mannis and Jason Hexton were featured on an episode of Ghost Adventures Deadly Possessions, where they bring the box to Bagans' haunted museum in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And the box, I think, resides there until this day.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Highlighted as the world's most haunted object.
Yeah, but probably every haunted museum has one of these objects.
I mean,
I know that.
the Annabelle doll.
Yeah, the Annabelle doll is supposedly the most haunted object in the world as well.
Which I kind of believe. But
I mean, yeah, probably every museum claims that.
Oh, are we gonna do an episode on Annabelle?
I mean, we can.
Yeah. Do you guys want to hear that? Let us know. Because I'm super excited. I'm so into the Conjuring stuff and Ed and Lorraine Warren.
The Warrens.
Even if I don't believe everything, I'm super interested.
I think the Warrens are more interesting than all the paranormal things around it. I think both of them are very interesting people.
They already
whatever. For another
episode.
Anyway. Another episode.
So Zach Baggins opens the box himself on an episode of Ghost Adventures Quarantine, which was in, I think, 2020, because it was during quarantine. So that must have been 2020.
Yeah.
And apparently they heard it say Kevin and evil, Kevin as in Kevin Mannis.
Yeah.
And they even saw a shadow figure.
Yeah.
Later in the episode, security camera footage was included of Baggins' friend, Post Malone.
I find it. It's fun how it's funny how you say Baggins' friend, Post Malone, and a musician and world-famed artist Post Malone.
That was like the build-up,
Yeah.
Baggins' friend. Post Malone. So he was touching Baggins' shoulder, like. In a lot of articles it says like Post Malone touched the box, but that's not true.
No, he didn't touch the box. I saw the
shoulder, who was touching the then closed Dybbuk box.
Yeah.
That was before they opened it on the show.
It's like touching an electric fence with your friends.
Yeah.
You all hold hands in a chain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So kind of like that.
Kind of like that.
After they opened the Dybbuk box, Post Malone got into a car accident, almost had a plane wreck.
Yeah.
His house got broken into, and he had some other bad luck events, all within a times month. So that's like really short. Like I don't know if that's coincidence.
In a month's time, that's really. I mean, all these things happening.
Yeah.
Okay, car crash, car accidents, those things happen.
Exactly.
But then also a plane accident, because planes don't often have accidents.
I don't know the details of the plane accident. He said, I watched the interview of Post Malone. He said, I almost got into a plane wreck. I'm not too sure what that means.
He doesn't give details, but and his house got broken into. I mean, could be a coincidence.
It could be, but aren't houses of celebrities like super high security?
Gated communities, and I
don't think he lives in I don't know, but
he lives in a beautiful house. He lives in a
and
safe house.
He built a bunker underneath his house.
He built a bunker in his house?
Yeah, that was in the interview. That was so fascinating. I was like, oh shit, this. By the way, Post Malone is such like a friendly guy. I don't really.
He's
listen
a really
to his
chill
music,
and down to earth guy.
I mean, I actually do kind of listen to his music sometimes, but he seems like a really nice guy. But basically, he's building a bunker since 2020 because of
what else you gonna do? What else you gonna do with all your money?
Oh yeah. And he says there's place for like 30 of his friends.
Oh, cool.
If there were to ever have a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, if there ever something happens that he needs to go into his bunker, he can take 29 of his friends then?
Exactly, 30.
I mean, so it's capacity of 31.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I guess so. So yeah, Dybbuk boxes are now found on eBay, Etsy, even the dark web, etc. In all kinds of sizes and for all kinds of prices.
Obviously.
The typical box is like square with wax to keep them shut.
Yeah, that's where I got the wax thing.
And many YouTubers open them in their videos, and sometimes like paranormal stuff happens after that, sometimes not. But of course, it's like up to the viewer, I guess, to see if you believe it or not.
Yeah, a lot of these videos are clickbaity.
Yeah,
opening a Dybbuk box at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bought a Dybbuk box from the dark web. You'll never know what happens.
Now, what I do find is, like, I do believe that most of these YouTubers actually buy the boxes. Like, they don't make them themselves. I mean, I guess they could, but you can see them buying them sometimes. But whatever, someone else can easily make them. However, I have come across some videos where the whatever is inside the box, like the possessions, not the demon, but like the possessions, are creepy. Yeah. Are like, oh, that's just kind of disturbing.
Yeah, but
demon or not, that's kind of disturbing.
That's also these videos, like saying, where people buy mystery boxes from the dark web.
Exactly, same
it's
thing.
It's also the same thing, but those
I've watched those as well.
Those are obviously staged. It's just a couple of guys who take a cardboard box, say let's throw some random crap in it, just throw chicken foot in it, and throw a baby doll with its eye stabbed out. Let's throw in a knife as well, but we'll put some ketchup on it.
I've seen some really disturbing ones, and I'm just like...
I have an old wig here, I'll just pull out some hair, put the hair in the box, and then tape it up really badly. Looks really shitty.
Yeah.
And then we'll make a video about it. I mean, it's something that's so easily staged.
That's absolutely true. But nonetheless, I've seen some really disturbing shit, and like staged or not, it's disturbing.
Yeah,
what the hell?
It's disgusting. A lot of these videos are disgusting, even if it's staged or not.
Yeah, I've seen mystery boxes that included tapes, and on those tapes, it's just like weird footage, like just like, no.
Okay, but.
No.
Could be staged.
No.
Could still be staged.
Staged or not, let's talk.
That's still
Yeah. No. But yeah, the Dybbuk box. Kevin Manis's Dybbuk box. Yeah. According to Kenny Biddle. I have no clue who Kenny Biddle is, but Kenny Biddle.
A random guy.
I think he's a reporter or something.
Still just a random guy to us.
He actually concluded that the wine cabinet did not come from Spain, but was actually a minibar from New York.
Okay.
So these type of boxes were used as minibars. And not wine cabinets.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar.
It looks like, I get it. Place for the bottles, place for the glasses to be stored.
But the origins of the box are apparently not from Spain, but from New York.
Okay.
And eventually, Kevin Manis later admitted that the story on his eBay listing was indeed made up.
Yeah.
And he just kept adding updates to keep it interesting and basically get more money for the box.
Get more money. Well, he got almost $300 for it. So.
I mean, how many stuff on the internet is lied? Like, I don't think he did a crime there.
Also, another similarity to the Unlucky Mummy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I knew that this part was coming, so it's a lot of similarities.
Exactly.
Very cool.
So I thought it was very interesting because when I first was reading this story, I was like, "Wow, is this true?" Like, because the original story might not be true. Whatever happened with the box, like it's in a museum and haunted stuff happened. And Ghost Adventures, Post Malone was almost killed. Like, that stuff is real. I mean, is it because of the box? I guess not.
Yeah, but are we not projecting onto that box then?
I mean, I guess.
If we know that the story is made up, so couldn't have been about. I guess misfortune that Post Malone had couldn't have been from the box then.
I guess not. Maybe the box was originally not demonic or whatever, but maybe now it's suddenly
something has attached itself to that box.
Because here's like a super random theory that I just literally came up with
at this moment, as you are fond of doing.
This box is now in a museum, the Haunted Museum of Zach Baggins.
Yeah.
This haunted museum is full of haunted objects. So, one of these spirits, demons that was actually originally attached to one of the other items was just like, kind of like this box a little better. Or he was like, this box is actually nothing. I don't know how spirits and demons work.
It has detached from one of the haunted objects in his museum and attached itself to that box.
Maybe it was like, excuse me, this random box?
I'm jealous of the attention this box is getting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this box is said to be the world's most haunted item and it's not even haunted. And like, I'm here, hello. And the spirit was just like, the box is mine now.
It's a good thing that we don't know how spirits work.
I guess not.
It's all speculation at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows? I guess anything's possible.
Very interesting. And it's also, I think it's very coincidental and very cool of us that we sort of that we took two stories who went this very similar routes. Mm-hmm. Both of them are made up. Both of them are about misfortune, about accidents and death.
Exactly. Now, I do want to include one other thing that I did find a little strange when I found out that the story was made up. Because Kevin and his mother actually started a little interview about the box. And I watched a part of the interview on YouTube. And if the story is actually made up, then wow, that mother is a great actor. Because when she told about the box, she looked so terrified. And note that this lady is by the time of this interview, already in her, I guess, 80s.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely looked in her 80s, maybe not even 90s, maybe not.
Yeah,
but definitely in her 80s.
She could just not know that the story was made up.
So you think that she had a stroke, that was true, but it was just coincidental?
I'm not saying that the stroke was real. I'm not saying it's a lie or if it's the truth, but she could read. I mean, the mind is a powerful thing.
True.
Our brains make us believe and see things that aren't there or should be there. So if her son told his mother about all the misfortunes that happened with this box and how haunted it could have been amongst these things.
Yeah, but she actually told her side of the story. Like, I was suddenly not unable to move and such, and she was so terrified when she recalled the story, and she even started crying.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
yeah, but
the
these things,
story is fake, huh?
Yeah, but if these things really happened to her, then she, even if the story is fake, she still thinks that these things are real. She could not have. I mean, it could be possible that she knew from the start that it was a fabrication, but if she didn't know it was a fabrication, then, I mean, that doesn't take away the strength of that story.
Yeah.
If she believed that the things that happened to her are real, well, then those things are real for her.
Yeah. Okay, I got what you mean. Yeah, so I guess it's something like that, which I feel it's kind of like, for a woman, like, the story is not even real. Yeah. But I don't know, of course, what actually happened. No. For all I know, they were both in the copla. But yeah, that was the story of Dybbuk box.
Dybbuk.
So,
interesting.
I find it extremely fascinating because I used to watch these YouTubers open Dybbuk boxes without me knowing where the fuck it came from. And
now I'm
not gonna say that I always believed it, but I was always really fascinated. Wow, where does these boxes come from? And to now discover that it's actually a fake, like the Dybbuk is real. I mean, is it real? I mean, the Dybbuk mythology is real.
Yeah.
The Dybbuk box mythology, I guess it's not. It's not Jewish. And yeah, now I just kind of like, all these YouTubers, like, they probably don't know, like, these Dybbuk boxes are all...
Or they're very good and...
Maybe I could start making Dybbuk boxes.
Just...
Wait, instead of us, like, getting merch, we just sell Come Before Dawn Dybbuk boxes.
First item of merchandise.
And when you open them, there are They Come Before Dawn stickers inside. and like, pictures of us, like, photoshopped into old pictures of haunted stuff. Like, oh my god, I'm having ideas.
Maybe you shouldn't be in charge of any merchandise.
I want to be in charge of the merchandise.
Here you can buy your Dybbuk box. They Come Before Dawn Dybbuk box. How about They Come Before Dawn haunted coffee cup? Oh no. Oh. It was a joke.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's not a good idea. It was just a joke.
Oh no. Sad.
Alright.
So yeah, that's the story of the Dybbuk box.
Very interesting. I hope everyone found it as interesting as the both of us did.
Yeah.
And
that is, however, not to say that there aren't boxes out there that are actually haunted. Because I still believe in the paranormal.
Could be.
I still believe that there are actual boxes out there that are haunted.
Yeah.
Maybe not by a Dybbuk, but
possible.
Who knows?
If a doll can be haunted, why shouldn't the box be able to be haunted?
Exactly.
I just don't know how it will work, but...
Me neither, but whatever.
So
yeah, that was it.
That was it. I hope everyone had a great time.
Yeah.
I hope this night's episode was as interesting for our listeners as it was for us, and perhaps you could let us know how interesting you found it.
Yeah.
And where can people find us?
Well, you can find us on all social media platforms. I mean, I guess all social media.
Let's just say
the main.
The big ones.
Yeah, the big ones.
The big ones.
The big ones, indeed. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, They Come Before Dawn. Twitter, They Come BFR Down. You can send us an email, TheyComeBeforeDawnPod@gmail.com, or you can just find all of our links on Linktree.
Yeah.
You can also find us on our website, TheyComeBeforeDawn.wixsite.com/podcast. And I guess that is about it.
Well, I last week you ended the episode with a recommendation.
Oh yes, exactly.
And I think I should now tell you what recommendation I have.
You have one, and I'm curious.
Because I have one. It's two guys. No, it's a podcast that we have.
Two guys, one cup. Two guys, one box. Sorry, that was good.
I'm just seeing myself.
Oh man. That was
such
good.
a bad joke.
That was such a good joke.
So I have a podcast I want to recommend you, and I want to recommend all our listeners, because this episode we talked about the Dybbuk and a spirit, let's say. I want to recommend a podcast that we have had a few interactions with. It's the Spirits and Spirits podcast.
Oh yeah, indeed.
The Spirits and Spirits podcast. It's a podcast hosted by Drea and Jack.
Oh.
And well, they talk about spirits.
Yeah.
And they drink spirits.
They drink spirits?
Spirits is a different word for alcohol, strong alcohol.
Oh.
Whiskey, gin.
Really?
Tequila,
People
stuff like that.
Spirits to alcohol.
That's also the way you can say it. It's like alcohol could also be beers and wines.
Yeah.
Those aren't spirits.
Oh, okay.
Spirits
strong
is
alcohol.
strong alcohol.
Oh, I didn't know.
Liquor.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So they drink.
Each week they drink a different spirit.
Yeah.
And they talk about a different spirit.
Oh, okay. But then an actual spirit.
Yeah. I mean if you believe in actual spirits.
A paranormal spirit. Okay. They drink.
So they just drink alcohol and they talk about ghosts.
Yeah. Okay.
Way to make it difficult for me. I think they're two very interesting people to listen to, and I mean I would really recommend everyone to just give it a try.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. Okay.
That's my recommendation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So shout out to Spirits and Spirits. You can find them on Instagram at Spirits and Spirits Pod, and on Twitter at Ghost Drinkers, and also
Ghost Drinkers.
Ghost Drinkers,
Nice.
and you can also find them on Spotify.
Yeah.
Spirits and Spirits.
All right. Nice. Awesome. Okay, so I guess that was it for this night's episode.
This was this night's episode, and I hope everyone had fun. And I hope we'll see you in the next night.
Exactly.
Have a nice night.
Have a good evening. Bye. Next time on They Come Before Dawn. Japan, 1984. What started with meditation and yoga classes quickly led to something way darker. One man, but thousands of followers worldwide. In the next episode, we will be talking about Japan's most evil cult, Aum Shinrikyo, the cult of Shoko Asahara.